Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Hello and welcome. He is Gary McNamara. I'm Eric Harley as we move into a Monday. Gary, how are you?
We'll have to delay me telling you about the successful long weekend that I had, which included tightening the belt yesterday.
Yeah? All right.
So if after everything I ate, to have to tighten the belt because your pants are falling down is a good thing.
No, that happened
post-Thanksgiving.
That happened to me. In fact, weird you say that. We were at this park, and on Saturday night, they light up the entire park. But you walk the whole thing, and it's probably, if you walk the entire thing, it's probably 2 miles or so. Well, we walked it, grandkids and all, probably 3 times. But I got out of my truck, and it was like, wait a minute. Hold on, you got to be careful about this in a parking lot when you're tightening your belt. You get to do this as an old man, but you shouldn't do it if you're under the age of 50 because it looks weird. Hey, is that guy doing what I think he's doing there in the parking lot next to his truck? And so but I don't care anymore. I'll do it in the aisle at a grocery store now. And it's like, no, look, people. 2 things are going to happen. I either do this or something even worse will happen in just a few minutes. But
I'm going to have to get new pants because, the belt's now holding them up, but it was Friday flying back.
Yeah.
And I still was partly full. And
right.
It's when you get to TSA and I still got to take off the belt because there's so much metal in it, even though I got the TSA pre-check. Right. And that's when I have to worry about it. I got I'm one finger's holding up the loop of the pants.
Oh, no. I always have to do that. I've had to do that for the longest time. I have to hold on to my pants when I take my belt off. It's like, look, I know you guys want to be thorough, but trust me, this is going to be a lot more thorougher than you've ever been thorough.
Right. And I'm not hiding anything down there.
I'm not. And if I let go of these loops, I'm going to prove that I'm not hiding anything.
All right, so let's start out the day. We'll get to what we did a little bit later on. But there's the breaking news. I go to sleep, and the rumors were there over the weekend, and you and I knew. We said this. We said I forgot when he pleaded guilty, what month it was where he pleaded guilty to the tax charges, and you and I said, well, there it is right now. Biden's going to pardon And the shock out there, I'll tell you the coming up here, the 2 headlines that I saw that made me laugh the hardest here in the last couple of days. But first, let's play some audio here from, I don't know, what would it be, the last 6 months or so?
Yeah, just wait.
Will the president pardon or commute his son if he's convicted?
So I've answered this question before. It was asked of me not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, and I was very clear, and I said no.
Okay. Let me go back to the first question of the briefing. I know you said not a lot's changed since yesterday and that it's a personal matter, but from a presidential perspective, is there any possibility that the president would end up pardoning his son?
No.
Again, you've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute the sentence for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no. And I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No. For you here. Go ahead, Phil.
Thank you. There was some confusion on this previously, and the president seemed to address this in passing as he was walking away from that joint press conference with
yes,
Zelensky.
I know the question, yeah.
So I just wanted to clarify, President Biden has ruled out any type of commutation or reduced sentence for his son, Hunter Biden?
Yes, he has.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Does the president intend to pardon any administration officials or people that Trump has threatened with any sort of legal actions? He's got 74 days, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I know pardons is going to be a big part of the questions that I get here over the next several weeks, and couple of months that we have. I don't have anything to share or any thought process on pardons. Once we have something to share, we certainly will share that.
Secondly, his son, Hunter, is also up for being sentenced next month. Does the president have any intention of pardoning him?
We've been asked that question multiple times. Our answer stands, which is no.
Your son Hunter is on trial, and I know that you cannot speak about an ongoing federal prosecution. But let me ask you, will you accept the jury's outcome, their verdict, no matter what it is?
Yes.
And have you ruled out a pardon for your son?
Yes. With regard to the question regarding the family, I'm extremely proud of my son Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know. And I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Now, I remember when he said that because you and I said he's not lying there, where he said Hunter is the most decent person I
that
know.
he knows. You have to put it into context.
Right. It's like, well, he's telling the truth there.
It's like we had to, the Affordable Care Act. It took us a minute, but after a while, we were like, oh, the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, right.
It's all an act. No, we get it. Okay. But, it's interesting because it was you and I we almost started an office pool over this right after Biden voluntarily stepped down. He did it all by himself with no encouragement from anybody else, no pressure. And we said, because I think we were in the hallways and we're, all right, how soon before he does the deed on Hunter on a pardon, and we were throwing it back and forth. Well, he keeps saying no. They keep saying no. They keep saying no. I don't know how many times I didn't keep track. They've said no since he dropped out. I don't know, with all those audio cuts, do we know what the timeline was from that? I mean, over the last several months, they kept saying no. They said no up until basically yesterday. That's when they said, maybe. One of the things that really was a tell for me, this goes back a couple of months. When Hunter and his lawyers went on break at a court hearing, and they come back and he confesses to all of it. And the judge asked him something, this is close to verbatim, so you say that you committed all of these crimes? You're saying you're guilty of all of these crimes? And the answer was yes. Basically, the judge saying, are you sure? And he pleaded guilty. And it was like, okay. Everybody, it was for about an hour, everybody was scratching their heads going, what was that about? But this was after Joe had already dropped out of the race. And now it was like, okay. Did he just go make a phone call to Pop? Is that how it worked? And then over the weekend, I don't know when I saw it. Was it Friday? His lawyers, Hunter's lawyers, were petitioning for the pardon from Joe. Mm-hmm. And I said, there's no way he doesn't do it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they didn't need the petition. I think that was sort of the setup to lead to a
it was a warning, media warning, yeah.
Right, but we knew it was coming. There was no way.
It wasn't because
there was no way it wasn't going to happen.
Biden's not happy with his own party. He doesn't give a flip about anybody. You thought I was going somewhere else?
I thought for a second that other word. I really did.
Huh?
I could hear that passion. I went, uh-oh.
I know, because I'm a lot.
Well, I guess I can retire. After.
Yeah, because I'm a lot better at cursing off the air. So he doesn't care at all about any of you. He's basically, what this is? The old walk away explosion in the background. And you don't flinch. You just keep walking. Although the problem with Joe Biden doing that on camera, he wouldn't know which direction to walk in. So the problem is that it's the question was basically, why wouldn't he do it? It's Joe Biden, not why wouldn't any of us do it? It's why wouldn't Joe Biden do this?
Well, of course he was going to do it. When I saw Jonathan Turley, we'll play the audio cut coming up here in a little bit, but when he said, this shows contempt for the American people.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell? The whole family's been involved in making money off his presidency for the last decade. That's why it was all the way back to 2014.
Right.
He's such an honorable man. I mean, listen to this. This is a problem with Republicans. If Trump doesn't get what you think he should get done in the next 4 years, this is one of the reasons.
Yeah.
Chuck Grassley. You ready for this? You ready for this? Listen to this. Republican Chuck Grassley.
Yeah.
I'm shocked President Biden pardoned his son Hunter because he said many, many times he would not. And I believed him. Shame on me. You're an idiot. I know he's 91 years old. Age doesn't matter when you're serving in the Senate.
Yeah, you're either up to it or you're not.
Right. You're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. For any Republican to sit there with the pathological line that has come out of this administration, and when it came to his son Hunter, and for Grassley, if anybody, knowing about the influence peddling, and the fact that Biden doesn't give a damn about any American, when you look at the border, when you look at COVID, when you look at it across, he doesn't give a damn about anybody except himself and his family. And Grassley, I believe them.
I believe them.
That's the problem with Republicans right there.
This is the same Grassley who's brought how many documents that show the corruption in the Biden family?
I know. Just like it.
Does Chuck Grassley believe Chuck Grassley?
I don't know. It's time for. He's got to go.
Well, this is part of the problem of what we have said, and again, I'm with you. I don't give you an excuse because of your age. Your establishment, and I don't. When the moment he was no longer chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and we were going through the confirmation process and the whole thing, and look, I've got issues with Lindsey Graham, no doubt, but he got that seat. I just thought to myself, okay, that's a better move. At that moment, remember, that was one of those moments when Lindsey Graham was on fire. So it was like, okay, he's going to be aggressive against the Democrats. He's going to be, I think, good in this position during the confirmation process for Supreme Court. Well, part of my problem was this Chuck Grassley, this apologetic. We're going to allow this. Well, we're going to allow this, and we're not going to. I'm shocked. I believed him. It's over.
That goes back.
Thank
to
you
Kavanaugh.
for your service.
Goes back to the Kavanaugh.
The Kavanaugh hearings. When quite honestly, it was just maddening. I was very happy that this year at the convention we didn't see any establishment during prime time. I was very happy about that. That was a good sign. And you know the what pleased me most is it wasn't like 2016 when everybody was saying drain the swamp. Which, remember, drain the swamp was really get rid of the establishment Republicans first, long before it became the swamp in deep state. The GOP, the original swamp. And it's like now, and it was apparent at the convention, the future of the party, well, we know this just by sheer numbers, sorry, but it's not Chuck Grassley, but it's not the establishment mindset. And that's the thing, too. Because Paul Ryan's not the age of, over in the House when he left as Speaker. He's not near the age of Chuck Grassley, but yet took on that establishment feel. And keep in mind, going back to 2012, he was brought on board the Mitt Romney campaign to give them some conservative street cred. So, look, we don't know what the incoming administration is going to do, but we see good signs, and that's what we look at. But a Chuck Grassley is part of the problem in the GOP Because as long as people like that still have votes, well, I believed him. Well, then what would happen? Then where are you going to go on votes?
Yeah. If you believed anything that Biden says, on anything, if you actually believed and you're a Republican, then I have to worry about your cognitive abilities at your age to serve. Sorry.
I have to worry about your judgment skills, full stop. And, look, the botched exit of Afghanistan, you're telling me that Joe Biden isn't going to pardon his son Hunter?
Of
course he was.
That Joe Biden who lied to the American people about what the general said, and Chuck Grassley knew it, and you didn't think he was going to, because he said it, you believed him? He's a pathological liar. He's been a pathological liar for a half a century.
And you know this.
I know. Because you've almost been in there a half century, too.
Exactly. You know this. Don't say, I believed him. If you want to say, hey, everybody, of course he was lying all along. We all knew it. Well, that's the obvious.
We've got a great show ahead.
We do.
I mean, just
good to be back. Man, I couldn't have gone one more night, especially after the news broke on Sunday of the pardon. It was like, okay, all right, everybody make room.
Wow. 866-90 Red Eye.
This report is brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology, is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance. Electrical systems are one of the most common causes of winter breakdowns. So when your batteries talk, it's important you listen. Keep an eye out for the warning signs that may indicate your electrical system needs attention to help avoid getting stuck out in the cold this winter. The most obvious sign that a battery-related issue is present is if your truck has trouble cranking at the proper speed. If you experience any sluggishness when starting your engine, get a full electrical system check from a trusted service provider.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
At Motel 6, we'll leave the light on for truckers. Truck parking is available at many of our 1,400 locations.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You think about it. I saw this on X yesterday. That was looking at. Hang on 1 second here. I had it here on my phone. Of the lies from Biden. It's transitory inflation. Afghanistan was a success. The generals told me all to get out. The border is secure. Robert Hur lied. Biden is fine. There's nothing wrong with fine. We need to go after that Robert Hur. The videos are cheap fakes. Biden had jet lag. He had a cold. Biden's not going to be replaced. Biden isn't going to pardon Hunter. And we could go on and on and on and on and on.
Well, the one thing is, I think also there was some work on Thanksgiving Day by Hunter himself. At the Thanksgiving table, he reportedly kept repeating the words, oh, pardon me. Oh, pardon me. Oh, pardon me. Pardon me. And maybe that sat in, wait a minute. Maybe I should pardon him. Maybe that was...
Somebody asked, can he run for president now after being Well, he could run for president anyway.
Yeah.
But he's not going. Don't worry about that. He's not going to run for president.
Look, I'll say this:
Hunter Biden is not going to ever be president of the United States.
Please run for president.
Yes,
please.
Well,
please run for president.
Apparently, Hunter is still polling higher than Newsom.
Yeah. Everybody that jumps in immediately, automatically goes above Newsom. Newsom's like, what happened?
Now, that was, when I saw that, it was a headline, but when Grassley said, I'm shocked President Biden pardoned his son Hunter because he said many times he wouldn't, and I believed him.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. There's a headline that matched that to me. I mean, it made me, the headline that made me laugh the most over the weekend.
All right.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Oh, by the way, download our Red Eye Radio app today and listen when and where you want.
And thank you.
Including in your car driving for Thanksgiving somewhere.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, we got a really great video someone made and sent it to us. It's a short video. I just reposted it. But Dirk writes, well, he posted on the video, in fact, when you ride to Thanksgiving with your 18-year-old and he plays Red Eye Radio podcast, and it shows them on the highway, and his 18-year-old is driving, and it's got hashtag raised right. Great job, Mom and Dad. You did a great job, and a hearty thank you to that young man for listening to the Red Eye Radio podcast. We greatly appreciate that. Cool video. Very nice. Proof that we have at least one listener. or two, technically.
Right,
there were two people
right.
in the car. So,
Right.
Look, we're moving on up. So it was great.
So
Very good.
Here's the other headline. It was Breitbart had it. Liberal, and I thought when I first read it, I'm not saying that the Democrats have pounded race so much that I'm starting to see it everywhere, but I thought it said liberal White House reporters, and it said liberal White House reporters. but at Breitbart, liberal White House reporters already exhausted with second Trump term. and I thought to myself, I went, that's a Babylon Bee headline.
I know.
And
it
then
is.
So then when I read that, I said, let me go to Babylon Bee.
Yeah.
Babylon Bee, lead headline. Update, picture of Joe and Hunter. Update, some people above the law. Then America's starting to think this Joe Biden guy might be a liar. And then finally, my favorite one that I didn't understand. I read the headline, I didn't understand it. Then I looked at the picture above, and I went, "Oh!" And it says Trump renews relations with Castro regime. I'm like, well, I don't understand where and then I'm not even looking at the picture above it. I look at the picture above it. It's Trump and Trudeau from Canada. By the way, Canada, we'll get into this later on.
Yeah.
You got a nutcase
as
your prime minister.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously.
It's
Wow.
like, what was it? And I know, it's a parliamentary system, but still, it's almost as if you went, Biden and the Democrats are so insane, we've got to top it in Canada.
Right.
Well, you apparently are.
Yeah. Yeah, you're doing it. Look. If you're going for the insane award, you guys are right there in the running.
And the thing is too, Canada missed it completely. The whole thing with the pro Palestine, the pro Hamas.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make sure. They say it so many times. I want to make sure I don't get caught up in the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
The pro Hamas protests going on, and
right.
And the conservatives in Canada were pounding on it, and there he is dancing at a Taylor Swift concert. You see him dancing. I'm like, it was almost like, is he doing the Trump dance at a Taylor Swift concert? But that wasn't, everybody missed it. Only people in Canada would know this. Nobody in the States, nobody caught it.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassment. Forget about the halftime shows on Thursday. That was quite fun.
Yeah.
I actually got involved in that a little bit on Twitter.
Yeah.
But you can't in Canada, I'm sorry, you cannot be cheering like he was for Taylor Swift and be a Tragically Hip fan. You can't do both.
No.
And when the Tragically Hip had their final concert, if anybody knows it, the former lead singer died of brain cancer. They did a tour while he had brain cancer, and the last actual concert they did in Kingston, Trudeau was, the cameras were on Trudeau constantly. Mm-hmm. So that was my music thing for it.
Yeah. You lose all credibility when you do that at Taylor Swift. Sorry. You don't get your street cred back for
Yeah, you can't
Yeah,
for the tragedy.
sorry.
You just can't do that. But no, but when I saw that liberal White House reporters already exhausted with second Trump team, but understand that, because you look back at this and it goes all the way back to 2014, where it's basically he's pardoned for anything, and what they're trying to do is the Biden family, and everybody knows it. Biden is the worst of what people hate in a politician. And
all in one.
Right. And that is, he made his family millions of dollars based on his position in government.
Mm-hmm.
And the point man was Hunter and his brother.
Yeah.
And Hunter and Joe Biden's brother, Jim. They were the point people on it.
Right.
They went and got money in order, to sell influence when he was vice president, and when he was vice president, and even when he was senator.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the 2014 is for Burisma.
Right.
And so the only thing that does, though, is if the Republicans, and I don't know what the Republicans are planning on doing in the House or the Senate, I don't know. But this means Hunter Biden would have to answer any question under oath. Can't take the fifth. He's got immunity for everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I do wonder about, if the Republicans will keep carrying that on or not. I really don't know.
Yeah. The question I don't know is if he lies under oath, does he have immunity for a future crime?
Well,
because that's a crime not related to anything from that time span. That would be a crime after, and I don't think he would have immunity.
Yeah, I don't think he would have immunity for
right.
any.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think you could tie those together.
You had I found the one guy, the one Democrat that said now he should pardon himself, because that's the one thing you could sit there and go, okay, now you go. Now what their focus will be, I don't know. I mean, if you look at it right now, they only have 2017 to 2015 right now in the House because they've lost 3 Congress people. So there's not going to be much moving. By the way, you notice any sympathy or rah-rah for Gaetz is gone?
Yeah, no, that didn't really carry at all.
Nope. And as we said, look, there's no reason anybody should look at Matt Gaetz as a hero anymore at all. There's no reason they should have dropped out. That seat was important to have. If he why did he drop out so quickly is the question. If he's loyal to Trump, why did he drop out?
Right.
He just won election. He won election. He basically told the people of his district in North Florida, I'm going to serve again. And then he dropped out.
Right.
Making it less likely that Trump can get his agenda done.
Right.
And nobody can answer that question. We brought this up last week. But do not look at him as any type of political hero. He just betrayed the movement.
Yep.
There's no reason, because he said none of this happened. None of it, that he's completely innocent, then there's no reason for him to drop out. There's no reason for him to quit his seat.
Right.
And I think everybody realizes it because how quiet it got. Nobody defended him. Nobody even brings him up anymore. It's done.
No, when he withdrew, I think everybody was like, well, yeah, of course he withdrew.
Yeah. By the way, what's his name? Betishera? Betishera for National Institutes of Health. So glad he's there. You need a counter. You need somebody a counter to Robert Kennedy Jr.
Yeah.
And he did the Great Barrington Declaration. He's a science guy.
Yeah. We talked about him a lot during COVID.
Yep.
Well, because he was writing a lot about it.
Yeah. Because he did the Great Barrington Declaration and went point by point by point. And he was right on everything.
And he had to write, remember, he had to write after that because they were shunned by the medical community. They were shunned by everybody else. Well, I won't say the entire medical community, but they were shunned by a lot of players at the top level of governments basically shutting them down. Remember, you couldn't even talk about, back then, a lab leak theory. That was a conspiracy theory.
Fauci tried to destroy him.
Yep. And, I think that's going to be, I think that would be great too. I saw that. That was a pretty big sigh of relief, at least, for NIH. We'll see, what kind of influence he can have.
Yeah, I like that. I like that pick.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Kash Patel, we'll see.
Well, I was about to say, I don't know. Jury's out on Kash Patel.
Well,
we'll see.
But the jury's out on everybody because you cannot get rid of the rot that exists in these agencies unless you get somebody who really wants to get rid of the rot.
Well,
and then if you attempt to get rid of the rot, the opposition will say, well, good people will be caught up in it.
Yeah.
The rot and the establishment of the rot doesn't matter anymore. It's trying to get rid of it, which then the opposition will use to say you're trying to destroy the criminal investigative part of the FBI.
Yeah, here's what I'll say about Kash Patel. There was, again, with me, the jury's still out because it's a pretty big job just, rooting everything out as director of the FBI. But I have two words, and I don't like doing this, but. James Comey. I mean, right there, who had no place being director of the FBI.
No, none.
If Kash Patel can be organized and do a great deal of good in rooting out all the rot, highest levels of the FBI, and that's all he gets done, then he's gonna get an A+ from me. I don't know what in the world you would have to do to root out all of it, but I'll take what we can get. Any progress is going to mean, again, setting a new tone to say this will not be acceptable. It's so mind-boggling. The Kash Patel thing, it for me, it was like, okay, we'll see. It wasn't about Kash Patel. It was about, almost in my mind, there was this purge of, and it started with James Comey, of all the Russia collusion stuff. And then Comey's weird behavior all along, and everything we know about the Russian hoax. All of that, to me, it was like, no, you're going to have somebody that walks in there and sets the new tone and goes to work and rooting out every bit of the rot there at the FBI. I hope Kash Patel's the guy.
And the thing people have to understand is it is the what they wish to accomplish is so radical that all of it is not going to get done.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, and I think
because there's going to be pushback in every single area.
Yep.
And it is so radical, and it's radical but necessary. What has to be done.
You got to do it. They went so radical.
Yep.
Changing it back is going to also be radical in the opposite direction.
And messy.
It's
going to be extremely messy.
It's going to be very messy. A good thing John Boehner's no longer in the house. It's going to get messy.
866-98 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up, we'll have some reaction to the. We'll have some reaction to the Biden pardoning his son. And I laughed. I didn't, because there's like, this is no, it's not. Stop it. We know who he is. We know who the family is.
I can't believe he lied to me. Come on, Grassley. Seriously. Seriously.
You know, he's sort of showing contempt for the American people here.
Yeah.
That's all he's done.
I can't believe what's next. We'll find out he lied about Afghanistan.
The border?
The border. So the border's not secure.
The border wasn't secure. He lied the whole time.
Inflation isn't good. What's next? Grassley. Dude.
I know.
Seriously.
Oh,
wow.
man. So we knew this was going to happen. You know, it's.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It was really, if I had put money in the office pool, I wouldn't have put it Thanksgiving weekend. I would have put it later in December, but close enough.
Yeah. Well, the sentencing was coming up, so.
Yeah, right. It had to be before the sentence.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Oh, yeah, okay. It's all you. My turn. All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. You should have, if we had cameras, you would have seen me looking at the microphone like, well, I gotta go on the air.
What do we do now?
I haven't been on in like 5 days.
Yeah.
It's my turn to talk.
Uh-huh.
All right, so one of the things I realized is one thing that comes with age is is you've seen the same hype over and over and over and over and over again your entire life, and it sort of gets like irritating.
Yeah,
like being in,
when you're old men, everything is irritating. But yeah, it's one of the many irritating things.
Okay, it's one of the many irritating things. Like
that and toast.
Like being in Buffalo this past 5 days. Actually, I went in on Tuesday night. I was back by Friday morning. And thanks for everybody saying, "Did you get back all right?" Dad didn't see one flake of snow. So that's, if you know snow belts, Lake Erie snow belts, and all the Great Lakes have the snow belts that they deal with up there. But
right,
the Lake Erie and the Lake Ontario, for example, over Watertown, which is on the west side of Lake Ontario.
Right.
Since Lake Ontario never freezes, they get pounded with lake effect snow.
Right.
But the hype of it, Orchard Park, where the Bills played, got, I don't know, it was 19 inches of snow. 19 inches of snow. It's actually normal for a snow belt to come in and do that.
Yeah.
These things happen when you're next to a lake and an Arctic front moves in. And I mean the local libs in Buffalo, climate change. This is happening because of climate change. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
I remember the snowstorms in the 60s and the 70s. In fact, I think they were more brutal back then. Not that they haven't had some, whoppers over the last couple of years, but it always happens every couple of years. It's almost like a hurricane. Well, the hurricane's hitting, therefore it's global warming. You don't know that.
Right, no.
And it just gets the hype, the national media hype of it. What are they going to do? Well, if you saw the roads around the stadium, they were all clear, 7 hours before the game began. In fact, around the stadium, they were driving all the time. Yeah. And it's just can you believe this is happening? Yeah, it's wintertime. It snows.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
Right.
There's a reason that all the ski country is anywhere between 30 and 70 miles south of Buffalo in the hills.
Right.
It's the snow belt.
Right.
And so that just irritated me a little bit watching the national media. But then It was Sunday morning. So Sunday morning, I go to Fox Weather because that's the weather that I have. And I'm like, I'm saying live, and they're like, and the snow coming down. I'm like, well, I just checked the radar. There's no snow coming down. This is like 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
They're running a report from 24 hours before on Fox Weather. It's weather, and they're running something from the day before.
I went to Mom and Dad's on Friday, and they had, I think it was, I'm almost positive it was Fox News, and the reporter standing out, it was coming down. I didn't even bother to look where it was. I was in Texas. We had sunshine, mild temperatures. I mean, we got to 60, I think, on Saturday, but on Friday, up where my mom and dad live, it's a couple hours northwest of here, and, just a typical Thanksgiving type weather. A little bit of overcast, a little bit of sunshine during the day. Temperatures, in the 40s, 50s, somewhere around there. Light breeze, nothing going on. So I see this on TV, and I'm like, all right. And inevitably, they put the reporter out in the middle of the worst part of the snow. I didn't even bother to look where that was. I didn't even care. It was like, no, okay. Well, glad I'm not there. And that was about all I saw of it. I saw headlines coming through, over the weekend. Then the game and all of that, just all of the stuff that was the alerts that were going off. But it was like, it's winter. That's going to happen. There was, where was it? Record heat. It could get to this is over the summer. It could get to the mid-90s today. All of us in Texas were like, yeah, that's cute. We're lucky if it gets down below the mid-90s at night, during the summer. But I mean, it's, they did this over and over again. Oh, record heat. By the way, you and I have been saying this for years. I used to call it the conditioning of America. It's now I just call it lying. But it's this idea of, we better conserve. Listen, cut back your AC. We don't have to do any of this. They make it seem, because if they go in and they make it seem like, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. I'd never seen it like this. It's getting worse. Remember Larry David's now ex-wife back in the day? We read this post from her on social media years ago. My gosh, this goes back a long time. I just went for my evening walk. Nobody cares. I came in and my hands were so cold. Still not caring. I can't believe it's this cold at this time of year. Yep. No, don't care. It was this, we've got to overreact, because the idea is to push it more towards, well, we should do something about it, because we all know Congress can change the weather. Why aren't we letting them? It's just so stupid.
Well, then more hype, because watching the football. I actually watched more football this weekend than I probably watched and most of it was college.
Oh, okay.
Even though I did watch the over at my sister's house, everybody's watching the games, and so what was it, the Detroit game, the halftime show?
Yeah,
Shabuzi.
Yeah, you were telling me about it. I didn't see any of it,
and so I'm watching it, and I'm just like, okay, it's a pop song, but it's the same hook every 5 seconds for 5 minutes.
Right.
I mean, you're waiting for some type of kind of chord change or something in it to make it interesting. I mean, that's, when you're an old guy, you've seen everything. When it comes to music, you've seen everything, and it's like, And all of a sudden, my buddies, music aficionados, you got to be kidding me. And it's the fake hype of it all with the audience going crazy. Well, somebody here locally who's a national sports person but also local went, that was one of the finest performances of music ever at a halftime show. And if you didn't like that, then you just don't like music. Now, I just, there I am, Thanksgiving. I have had no adult beverages at all. I want to make this clear. And I just went, and I went, oh, absolutely. The same 5-second hook, all, repeated for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Just tremendous, groundbreaking, amazing, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Only 2 people disagreed with me. One said, well, apparently you didn't listen to this. You didn't watch it, which I did.
Yeah, they were taking you seriously.
Yeah, and then the second one was, well, all music's like that. Everybody else so agreed with me. And so I just, it's just hyping something to the point of just stop it. Just stop it. And I guess.
You know what it reminded me of?
I'm old. I'm sick of hype.
The way you describe it to me, because I didn't see it, but I know what you're saying. These halftime shows that they do.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of the Democratic National Convention this year. It was all fake. And we know even the Republican convention, it's all contrived. But there was nothing real about the Democrats' convention at all. There were no real moments on that stage. And it felt like, and that's a perfect way to describe it, one of these weird halftime shows.
Yeah. Now, I did watch the Cowboys, and it was the country star Lainey Wilson and then Jelly Roll.
Yeah.
And that was okay. I mean,
all
it's,
right.
and
I didn't see that, but yeah, it sounds all right.
But what got me, finally I went, but it's, again, there are the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders out there, and it's so contrived, the people cheering and all that.
Mm.
And then I went to something that actually impressed me.
Mm.
And it was when I was watching, was it Friday or Saturday? Probably was Saturday. All the college football that was on. I'm going through it.
Yeah.
And I was watching part of the Grambling Southern University game at the Dome in New Orleans every year that goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the halftime show, and the Battle of the Bands. And I just saw the last part of it, and it was Southern University, and it was a guy doing rap, but it was the entire marching band keeping time with him and going bonkers.
Oh,
now, that was fantastic. I went, now that's a damn halftime show.
And as someone who has been in a marching band before, we actually went to state and did very well. Go Del Rio Rams. I love watching something like that.
There was no fakery
cool.
at all.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no fake
by the
fans
way,
and
just from my limited few years of experience doing that, it is a ton of work to get something like that done. And then to get to the college level, I can't even imagine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was when in high school, it was a ton of work to do what we were doing back then. And I can't imagine getting something like that together. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
I didn't even know who the rapper was.
Right.
But it wasn't the rapper who got my attention.
And just everything synced.
It was the band, the marching band syncing and the choreography of it. I went, now that's what I expect.
Yeah.
Talking about old school. Oh, so you want a marching band at halftime? I'm an old man. When I was young, we used to walk through any snowstorm 50 miles uphill both ways.
You're at a concert and the singer yells, "You guys ready to rock?" Actually, do y'all have a marching band?
Well, one of the best shows I ever saw.
Uh-huh.
And I had to be dragged to it.
Yeah.
My buddy dragged me to, what's his name, from the Stray Cats.
Oh, Brian Setzer.
Brian Setzer Orchestra, the first time in a small club. My buddy dragged me there.
Yeah.
I had just
Genius.
signed, and I was like, I don't want to see the Stray Cats guy. He goes, no, he's got a big band with him. You haven't heard the new music? I went, no.
Yeah.
And the band, the brass, and everything else. I went, oh, God.
Yeah.
I mean, blew my. We walked out numb.
Yeah.
We walked out
Genius.
numb, going, just
Well,
greatness. But
speaking of being dragged, Michael Bublé. My wife got tickets to Michael Bublé one year. Excellent show. Excellent show. I saw him in Fort Worth, Texas. This goes back several years. But his band, and he was very good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say this, because we take trips this time of year. We take a lot of trips, more like a lot of people, like most people, road trips. And, my wife will say, hey, pull up some Michael Bublé. Christmas. So it's her favorite. Of course I'm going to do that, yeah. pulled it up on my Amazon Music. Have a subscription to the Amazon Music. Got the app. Boom. Type all that in before we get going. It's all set. And then in January, Jeff Bezos thinks it's funny to have an algorithm that comes back and says, hey, there's other Michael Bublé music that you might like, Eric. Wait! Bezos?
I saw part of a biography on him.
Yeah.
He earned everything.
Yeah. No, I like
He
the guy.
earned-
He
I
seems
mean,
like
I-
a very nice guy.
Same thing
Yeah.
when Kid Rock first came out. I went, what's this Kid Rock thing? And
Yeah.
then when I heard about his story,
Yeah.
how he made it, I went,
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not, to me, what made, the celebrity part of what they're doing. It's how they got there.
Yeah.
That's the fascinating
Well,
story.
and you think, all right, it's not my style of music, and it isn't. But you go to a live show, and it's like, whoa, man, there's a ton of work that goes into that. It was very impressive. Very impressive. Yeah.
866-90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
Managing time is key. Successful owner-operators know that simply running hard is not enough. If it were that easy, anyone could do the job and expect the profits to roll in. It generally pays to slow down. There is a trade-off in higher costs, not to mention the increased risk for driving fast. If driving slower takes time away from you, you could find some of the ways to get it back. Never take time off during the last 2 weeks of the quarter or the last week of the month, when freight typically is abundant. Sometimes it works to your advantage to look for loads that take you through home rather than to home. The latter can interrupt your revenue stream and require additional time to get back up to full speed again. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics. Brought to you by Shell Rotella, with advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90 Red Eye on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. And the only other thing I've got to say is, all right, look, Trump, you've won the election, all right? And you're getting down to business.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stop with the YMCA crap. Since we're talking about music, let's stop with the YMCA crap, please.
It's all the rage.
Let's move on to something else. For God's sakes.
Yeah, if I ever became president, listen, let's stop with the Iron Maiden, would you? First of all, it's 8 minutes long. It's the live version of 2 Minutes to Midnight. We don't need to hear that at every rally.
Could have been Inagata-Devita.
Oh, my gosh, exactly. 45 minutes later, it's like Inagata-Devita starts, oh, that's our the press says, that's our 45-minute warning. We got plenty of time. Yeah, Echoes by Pink Floyd, 1 and 2. Oh, we got a while. We're going to be here.
Oh, my gosh.
We're going to be here.
Or the one side of the Rush album that's like
exactly.
one song.
Exactly.
I forgot which album it is.
Yeah. We got time.
I'm getting all the things that irritate me.
Yeah.
So let's quit with the YMCA. I'm done. Let's move on.
Yeah. The dance was everywhere, though. Still saw it on social media.
You're gonna need some. Hey, I heard some new AC/DC's coming out.
All right.
You're gonna need, with all the crap that you're gonna be facing here, you need to get away from the wimpy music and into the hard stuff.
There you go. You're gonna need that motivation.
Yes.
Exactly.
And if your goal is to attract male support.
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe you change the tone of the music. You can keep the Lee Greenwood because we like Lee Greenwood.
Yes, Lee Greenwood you can
keep that.
Yes, no problem with the Lee Greenwood at all.
But maybe we change from YMCA to, I don't know, Sepultura. I don't know. Maybe that's a little too hard. Maybe that's a little too drastic of a change. Okay, Judas Priest. Yeah. Judas Priest. We'll do that.
Right.
Yeah.
I can say,
Yeah.
he got another thing coming.
There you go.
That'd be-
Exactly.
Democrats, you got another thing coming.
Yeah,
All
there
right.
you go.
All right, I can go with that.
Rob Halford, front and center. There you go. I'm all for it. And the thing is between the the whole Village People thing and Judas Priest, you get to keep the leather, so there's not much of a change.
How are we going to survive the next 4 years?
It's funny because it's true.
Oh,
I don't
my
know,
gosh.
man, but
Oh,
it's going to be a lot of fun.
It is. I mean, it's. All right.
So you're saying Hunter's not guilty? Is that what we're hearing?
Observing and analyzing the insanity. Eric Harley and Gary McNamara. Nightly on Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. All right, reaction. Jonathan Turley on Fox News last night was asked what he thought about the pardon.
This brings to mind the same type of familial action taken by Bill Clinton, who pardoned his brother in his final days of office. And it also shows a degree of contempt for the American people. You know, this is a president who didn't just simply lie about not ever speaking to his son's business associates, of never being in meetings with them. But he lied repeatedly to the American people when he was a candidate for re-election. And he was asked repeatedly, as he was, about meeting his son's clients, and denied that he would do that. And he has now violated that pledge.
Right.
To get more of this here, and let me just get to what Turley put on Twitter last night. He said, I hope Americans, Joe Biden said, I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president will come to this decision. And then Turley wrote, Americans may have a more difficult time understanding how a president could repeatedly and deny that he would issue this pardon when he was running for re-election. It is also notable that after insisting that these cases were politically motivated, Biden also pardoned for any crimes that may have been committed from January 1st, 2014 to December 1st, 2024. That is precisely the type of sweeping immunity grant that the federal judge balked at in the hearing when the earlier sweetheart deal fell apart. The judge asked the prosecutor if he had ever seen such a deal, and the prosecutor admitted he had not. Hunter Biden is hardly a poster child for a victim of over-enforcement of federal laws. He was given a free pass on allegations that he was an unregistered agent and was a personification of influence peddling in Washington. His call to a Chinese businessman hardly speaks to being an innocent hounded by overzealous prosecutors. Quote, I am sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now. And I mean now means tonight. And Z, if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge against you, you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for a call with my father. Also, the point that Biden put in his statement, which is flatly false, was that the tax problems was because he was an addict.
Right.
We know that that is false. How do we know that? How do we know that Biden lied in the statement that he put out? Well, because of the IRS whistleblowers, Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler, under oath, have testified, and that was one of the major points that they brought up a while back.
Yeah,
and Biden knew
right.
that the evidence existed in the IRS whistleblowers inside the IRS. He wasn't on drugs when he was evading taxes. Here it is.
What do you think the biggest misconception is about the Hunter Biden case?
That he committed this felony tax conduct while he was high on drugs and he was out of his mind and he wasn't. It's not true. He actually filed these false tax returns when he admitted in his book that he was newly sober. So all of this conduct, if you look at the book compared to what's filed on the tax returns, when you compare those two things, they don't match up.
There you go. That was Catherine Herridge put that out last night, saying after assurances that no pardon was forthcoming, the accuracy of the White House statement is also questionable based on our recent interview with the IRS whistleblowers.
Yep.
On the timeline. Look, Biden was part, and we all know it. The evidence exists. It's clear. Was part of a massive influence peddling. Either he wasn't involved in it and his entire family was screwing him over. I think that yesterday shows he was involved and he knew all about it, which is why he consistently lied over and over again about his knowledge about what Hunter Biden and his brothers were doing.
Right.
And so this is a way to give complete immunity to the family business of making tens of millions of dollars off of Joe Biden's, quote, public service, end of quote.
Right. Well, you know, again, it was always going to go this way.
Yeah, we knew it.
If there was a conviction coming down, it was going to happen. We're not a couple of Chuck Grassleys.
Don't be a Chuck Grassley.
Don't be a Grassley. This is because it's, I mean, seriously, we're within now 2 months of him being done. And everything you know about his decades of public service, about being a wholly dishonest person, you have to apply it to this. He was going to, he lied to the American people repeatedly with Afghanistan. His administration has lied to no end about everything. And you didn't think he was going to pardon his son on his way out the door?
In case you just tuned in and don't know what we're talking about with Republican Chuck Grassley put out on X last night. I'm shocked President Biden pardoned his son Hunter because he said many, many times he wouldn't, and I believed him. Shame on me.
Yeah.
Grassley put that out. If you want to know the problem with the Republican Party, right there.
Right there.
I know he's 91. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. If you're
Doesn't
still
matter
in the
how old
game, you're in the game.
Now, look, we judge. We don't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. You say something stupid, we'll call you on it.
Yep.
And that's a stupid I don't buy. Well, you call into question. You're 91 years old. I got to call into question your cognitive and your ability to make good judgments.
Yep.
Because Grassley, if anybody knows, Biden has lied consistently and has been an absolute pathological liar, and he
Grassley knows it.
Grassley knows it.
Grassley knows this.
Yeah.
He's part of getting how many documents along the way or making them public?
I know. That's just what.
Are you serious? Wow. Seriously, man. But this is the problem. When you see things like this, you know, it's because it's indicative of the fact that when we talk about the rot, you want to call it the swamp, whatever it is, well, the DOJ and the FBI and deep state, that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
It is a culture, it's a mindset that has people that are the Republicans. They have plenty of people still in power You've got to go out of your way, Grassley, to think for a moment, oh, I believe Joe Biden on anything.
Right. And I think what is also important to mention is the support you're going to see from Democrats, and I've already seen from Democrats last night supporting his decision to do this, because this is the influence peddling of the Biden family as president is unprecedented in American history. There's never been an influence peddling organization inside a family to enrich a family to tens of millions of dollars based on the public service as a senator and vice president as the Biden family. Nothing has ever, nothing that is known has ever touched anything like this.
Yeah. No, I mean,
before with the bank accounts that existed and how the money found its way to all different members of the Biden family. And so you've taken it even a level further than let's go after our political enemies. Let's make up crimes about our political enemies. Let's be involved in lawfare. Let's weaponize the government. This is the Democratic Party now approving of influence peddling. That influence peddling is fine. We're okay with influence peddling. We're fine with you taking your public office and using it to enrich your family to tens of millions of dollars. That's okay now with Democrats. That's a message that's being sent.
And then beyond that, taking that same power to dismiss it legally.
Yes. Yeah.
It is beyond salt in a wound.
But when Turley said, this like shows contempt towards the American public, yeah, so does open borders.
Exactly. Well, spending to the point of the inflation that we got that has robbed the American people of their spending power.
So is telling American public, no, you can't. Oh, I'm sorry, you're not vaccinated. You can't do that. Open border, come on in. We don't care whether you're vaccinated or not.
Exactly. Come on in.
Enabling after the Trump administration.
And we're going to give you benefits.
Stop the money to Iran. Stop the flow of money that was used to fund terrorism. And then Biden comes in office. There you go. Let's make sure that Iran has all the funding they need to fund Hamas, Hezbollah, in order to attack American interest, American bases, kill American soldiers, and attack Israel. And then this, along with Biden walking out of the bookstore over the weekend with the pro-Hamas book and publicly showing it, making sure people could see it, you see the rot, the stink, the filth, the pro-terrorist, the anti-democracy, since Democrats bring that up, the anti-democracy bent of the Biden family.
Yep.
The Biden family is a disgrace to America, an absolute disgrace. And now they believe, all right, let's rub it in their faces. Let's rub it in their faces.
Yep.
They're not, because we expected this.
But it's confirmation.
Yep.
If you had any doubt, Chuck Grassley. Seriously, man.
He said he didn't do it. I'm Chuck Grassley, and I believed him. Then you're an idiot.
I believed Joe Biden. I did. I don't even expect Jill Biden to say something that stupid.
I said, that's why I said we now need to be concerned at 91 years of age about his judgment and his cognitive abilities with such an insane, stupid statement from Grassley.
Right.
And sorry, age doesn't matter. You're serving the public.
You're still in the game.
Get out. You're in the game. Age doesn't matter.
You're going to say something stupid like that, we're going to call you on it.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You know, the fact is people, you're going to have Democrats saying, well, he didn't want his son to do any type of jail time or to be convicted. Well, he could have just commuted the sentences. He could have waited till after the sentence was put down and just said, nope. But remember, he went for a 10-year immunity. 10-year immunity from 2014 to now.
Yeah.
Why? That was the main push of the influence peddling of the Biden family.
Yep.
He could have just said, okay, on these two things, boom.
Right.
I'm going to commute the sentences here.
Right.
For the taxes and what was the other one? Oh, and the gun.
And the gun charge.
The gun charge, the taxes, commute the sentence. That's it.
Right.
Didn't have to pardon, just commute the sentence.
Right.
He does no time at all.
Right.
But he didn't do that.
No.
He threw out because that's what they're worried about. They're worried about the fact that they had the biggest influence peddling of, I said a president, should have said, of a vice president, anybody in the executive branch like that, I believe in the history of the United States.
Right.
Nobody ever had that like he had it.
No.
Like the Biden family had it. Tens of, what is it now, close to 30 million, they believe went to the family. And that's what they're trying to hide.
Right. No, I mean, it was the clean sweep. It was the Hail Mary.
Yep.
And, of course, it was going to happen this way.
Yep.
But because Joe Biden doesn't care. Look, he doesn't care about the American people. He doesn't care what you think. He doesn't care about lives in Afghanistan. He doesn't care about lives when it comes to him opening the border and not fixing, and then his administration lying to you, the border secure. And all along he showed he doesn't care. He's going to do what he wants to do. He doesn't care what you think about it.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, looking here, the IRS whistleblowers came out with a statement, following statement after Biden pardoned his son, Hunter Biden. The reason that Hunter Biden actually was found guilty of the gun charge and then pleaded guilty to the tax evasion was because of the IRS whistleblowers that came out and said they're trying to bury this.
Yeah.
And so they had no choice but to do it. But what they wrote was, quote, "No amount of lies or spin can hide the simple truth that the Justice Department nearly let the president's son off the hook for multiple felonies. We did our duty. We told the truth. We followed the law. Anyone reading the president's excuses now should remember that Hunter Biden admitted to his tax crimes in federal court, that Hunter Biden's attorneys have targeted us for our lawful whistleblower disclosures, and that we are suing one of those attorneys for smearing us with false accusations. President Biden has the power to put his thumb on the scales of justice for his son, but at least he had to do it with a pardon explicitly for all the world to see, rather than his political appointees doing it secretly behind the scenes. Either way, it was a sad day for law-abiding taxpayers to witness this special privilege for the powerful." Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is that, look, Biden's not going to do it unless he can just, basically, he's almost bragging as he's doing it. You know, that's the whole point. You're not going to get my family, Jack.
Well, you think about it, Democrats are okay. Anytime by the way, the new the new info came out from the IRS as to who pays taxes. So the whole let's fairness thing comes up again, or not let's fairness. What is fairness?
Right.
Rich need to pay their fair share. What is that? I don't know. Then
how much do they pay now? I don't have any idea.
But again, that's all BS because you don't care that the Biden family attempted to enrich themselves and the point person in it didn't pay his taxes and did everything to hide, to evade taxes, tax evasion, and Democrats are okay with it. So any Democrat on taxes, shut up. You have no credibility at all.
Yep.
Because these were tax evasion charges that he was found, that he pleaded guilty to. That supposedly Democrats hate. Nope.
No, it's all fine. You know, there's going to be no outrage from the Democrats. None. It's all fine. Joe gets away with it.
So what are the I do expect some, because we're not at the end of the pardons.
No.
I can see, even though his brother, will he give out blanket pardons for people that haven't even been charged with the crime? Will he attempt to give a blanket pardon?
I think quite possibly.
I think so, too.
I think everything is on the table now. Yeah. I think, in fact, I'd be surprised if he didn't. It wouldn't be very Joe Biden-esque for him not to do it.
I will say the one thing that came out of this from Democrats, so Democrats are saying, all right, we know why he did it. It's his son, but now this allows Trump to do whatever he wants the next 4 years, and sorry, you can't complain about it.
Exactly.
Not after what Biden did.
No, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. You know, I think everything is on the table. I think there's great consideration for it. Things like that typically would happen, you know, late December, early January, you know, almost quite literally on his way out the door.
I remember sitting in the studios of WMAL, our great affiliate in D.C., and it had to be the day before Bush was inaugurated. I believe that's when some of the Clinton's pardons came down.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's usually.
I remember how, because it was
very late in the game.
It was very late in the game at that point.
Yeah,
and I didn't know whether, I thought they were laying the groundwork for it to come up in the next couple of weeks, because it didn't matter whether, I mean, if he wasn't going to get 20 years in jail.
Right.
So I just expected for it to come after that, or maybe right before it, maybe a week from now, but wasn't surprised by it at all. I mean,
the sentencing timing was kind of okay. Because I could hear somebody saying, yeah, but if he does it after the sentencing, then, you know, that looks bad. It's like, you remember we're talking about Joe Biden, don't you? He doesn't care what it looks like. There is no good version of this from our perspective. He doesn't care about that. In fact, that might be very Joe Biden-esque for him to wait until after the sentencing and go, yeah. But it is this, you know, as they put here from the whistleblowers, you know, for all the world to see approach. Joe Biden, I've got the power. I still have the power. And as long as I have the power, I'm going to do what I want. And nobody is going to stop me. How drunk is Karine Jean-Pierre going to be on January 21st? That's one question I have.
Well, I really thought that, you know, after he was basically making sure that everybody could see that he bought the pro-Hamas book.
Yeah.
And I went, wow, he's just sticking it. He's just saying,
yeah.
You know, he's just saying, you know what he's saying? You people that are Jewish and voted for me are the biggest suckers on the planet.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you are. You're the biggest suckers on the planet.
Rubbing
Here it is
in
right there.
Everybody's face.
And so with that and then this, I went, that's the Biden presidency right there.
He's just going to rub everything in your face. He doesn't care. Doesn't care about lives. He doesn't care.
Nope. The family doesn't care.
He ran on breaking the border. Look, I'm going to break the border. That's basically what he was saying in 2020. I'm going to break the border. I want everybody to come back. Come on back if you were deported during the Trump years. We want you back. Then they showed up at the International Bridge in Del Rio. 10,000 of them going, he told us to come. He invited us. It was literally an invitation. And then tells the American people, and then he sends out Mayorkas with his hairless cat in his lap going, the border is secure. Not sure if the cat was actually at any of the hearings.
I like I like the imagery, though. It's got to be a hairless cat, though.
It has to be. And the entire thing, though, it's absurd, it's insulting, and quite frankly, all of it is tragic.
You ready for this? Somebody did a timeline here of Biden's quotes, right? Biden, November 2023. In my administration, no one is above the law. May of 2024. Wow. The American principle of no one above the law was reaffirmed. Biden, July 2024. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law. Biden, July of 2024. I'm calling for a constitutional amendment called the No One is Above the Law Amendment.
Yeah.
I think somebody's got it on tape here. Okay, I think I got it. Yeah, put this up. I think I have it.
All right.
Yeah, here we go.
All right, here we go.
I'm calling for a constitutional amendment called No One is Above the Law Amendment. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law. The American principle that no one is above the law was reaffirmed. The justice system should be respected, and we should never allow anyone to tear it down. Those responsible can be held accountable. In my administration, no one is above the law. I'm calling.
Hey, I just figured it out here on December 2nd. He's a pathological liar.
So what you're saying is Joe Biden actually lied? What? I can't believe it. I can't believe he lied to me.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe I bought it. And I can't believe I'm actually posting that on social media.
Chuck Grassley, just amazing. Wow. I'm so disappointed. I believed Joe Biden. I believed him. Then you're a complete, total idiot.
Shame on me. That doesn't even begin to cover it. Mr. Grassley. Well, shame on me. Get out. Get out!
I just wonder what his blanket pardons will be. I think you're going to have some blanket pardons coming.
I don't see. I mean, seriously, when you sit and you think of the scope of all of it, it would be shocking if he didn't do it.
Yeah.
If he didn't do blanket pardons, there might be. You know what? They might even have a blanket pardon party, like a state dinner kind of thing. Red carpet, the whole thing.
This isn't sitting in the back of my mind. All right. The pardons came out today for both of his brothers and Zelensky.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden at the red carpet, Taylor Swift shows up. And it's like, wait a minute. The media's like, wait, did she commit a crime or is she performing?
It's
both.
But put Zelensky out there. It's because
exactly. I mean, it's you. Why wouldn't you? Because you think about, I don't know, his brother, anybody named Biden, people who aren't even related named Biden. I just got a pardon in the mail from the president for what? I don't know. I didn't do anything.
Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't care. I did see someone. Well, this is gonna hurt his legacy. I thought that one was
his legacy.
What the hell we doing
Yeah,
there?
that's what he's worried about now. His legacy.
Did we up the drug intake since the election? I mean, is it
right?
Just upped it?
Well, and
Give me
and
more.
You have to think about all the juice that's in this, right? It's Joe Biden, which should cover it all. Senator Grassley, are you listening? That should cover it all. That right there, it's Joe Biden, of course. Then you go with the scorned Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Post Nancy Pelosi phone call. Hey, Joe, we're going to need you to step down. I don't know if that's what she sounds like on the phone. I'm just guessing. It's kind of Godfather-esque. That is a scorned Joe Biden. And if you think Hunter's ability to hold a grudge is something, wait till you see his father's.
Mark Alperin put out just one sentence. I mean, I can act surprised if you want me to. Oh, gosh.
Well, that's the thing about Grassley. His post is disingenuous based on the documents that he helped make public throughout this whole thing about Joe Biden and Joe Biden's family and them enriching themselves. Chuck Grassley knows. Well, that's on me. Shame on me. No. You know. And I don't expect that kind of dishonesty from all people. Seriously, Chuck Grassley. The lay down kind of thing, yeah, that's very establishment GOP. That's part of their game plan on way too many items. But it comes off as disingenuous. If you want me to believe that you believed Joe Biden. No, you didn't. I don't know what you're trying to recover here, Mr. Grassley.
And the reason when you put shame on me, I'm like, are you doing?
What are you doing?
Are you? That's like setting yourself up to be just destroyed.
It's a weird kind of. Did he think it was an attempt at virtue signaling or something?
I don't know.
I'm such a good person that I thought I would just. No, we know you don't believe that. And some of your actions along the way related to all of this. Quit. Get out. Enjoy your retirement.
866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
If you...
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here. The one thing that is starting to be out there in the media, we'll have an example of the media catching this on CNN yesterday, is the fact that now you've got, think about this, Hegseth for Attorney General.
Yeah.
Right? Kash Patel, FBI. Got to clean up the rot inside the
Hegseth
department.
for Defense Secretary.
Secretary of Defense. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Unless I didn't see a news flash.
Well, as you know, putting people in there that will change it, get rid of the rot.
Right.
Because Trump has said there's rot in the Department of Justice.
Right.
Now Biden has agreed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The reason that Biden is pardoning his son for blanket of 10 years by his own explanation is because of the rot in the Department of Justice under Merrick Garland.
Right. There's no other way to look at it.
And I'm like, is this going to come out in the confirmation hearings?
You know, and again, it's weird, too, because that's a snubbing of his own side. By the way, his own administration.
I know.
This really is the explosion in the background as you're walking away.
But if you got, Pam Bondi up there and you've got Kash Patel up there, these people are too radical. Excuse me. This has to be changed. This is bipartisan. Any Democrat senator comes up, you can blow them away. What are you talking about? Biden pardoned his son based on the fact that the Department of Justice is corrupt.
That's the reason
going after him.
Biden gave. Nobody, by the way, nobody forced Biden to give that reason.
No. What a defense you've just given Trump.
Right?
I can do what I want because Biden admitted.
Well, I mean, he was...
Both presidents, the current president, the last president, and the future president all agree the Department of Justice is corrupt.
Yep.
To the point that Biden had to pardon his own son.
Exactly. Exactly. Man, Pam Bondi, that hearing should take about 10 minutes. Look, there is no way around it. There are so many things. By the way, because I don't believe Biden is well thought out, except for when Biden is looking to get back at people. Again, Hunter writes about in that text message his ability to hold a grudge. That's nothing compared to his father's ability to hold a grudge when his own party ushered him out the door.
Yeah. And you're getting more of that talk. In fact, Lindy Lee was speaking again over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing about that all these consultants and all these people got rich off the donors' money. And then it's like the donors are now furious. We'll get to that coming up. But I want to get to this on CNN's Evan Perez saying in a different way exactly what we said. But Biden just cleared the way for Trump to say, well, wait a minute. We've got to change the Department of Justice. Biden says the reason that he pardoned his son is because the Department of Justice under Merrick Garland is corrupt.
Yes.
And practicing lawfare against his son. Here's part of this from Evan Perez.
Wow. We'll see what the public, the American public, arrives at. But I think it's really remarkable to sort of step back and just read some of what President Biden is saying in here. Keep in mind, he took office in 2021 promising to sort of restore the institutions and try to restore faith in those institutions, including the system of justice, obviously, the Justice Department. Those are among the big priorities with him. That's why he chose Merrick Garland, a former judge, to be Attorney General. And then if you look now where we are, what the President of the United States is saying is that essentially there are problems, there are political problems with the prosecutions that are being brought by his own Justice Department. And, I think that's going to be a very, very tough pill for people to swallow on this issue, because obviously it is a thing that we keep hearing from Donald Trump, and it's the thing that animates the Trump team over the next 4 years. You're already hearing from them that they want to destroy some of those institutions that they believe are stacked against them. And so to see President Biden sort of go to the same territory is kind of a remarkable turn.
Because, look, again, I'm not saying this is a well-thought-out plan by Biden.
No, because nobody believes it.
For him to, think in this direction. But he wouldn't care that it was an effect of his actions. Again, based for his own disdain, being scorned by his own party. He doesn't care what they think either. There's no legacy building going on here. You kidding me?
I love that one. He may be destroying his legacy by doing this. It's like,
right, exactly.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, it really is, again, indicative of, and very clear if you needed any further proof of who Joe Biden is at the core, but certainly what Joe Biden has become since being scorned. By the way, Joe Biden, his wife, keeps wearing red in public. I know the other day it was a Christmas moment with the, Capitol tree, or not the Capitol tree, the White House tree, arriving, and she's at the podium wearing MAGA red again, like she did on Election Day. I'm not trying to start any conspiracy theories, but I'm trying to start some conspiracy theories. This is, again, who Joe Biden has always been, and then you just add in a great deal of grudge holding. Of course. So blanket actions coming from his desk?
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. Yeah, I do.
I don't.
Yeah.
Again, I think I'd be surprised if it didn't happen. How does it not happen in a big way? I think there's some that we haven't even thought of. I mean, we always go, we go to the big ones, but I think there's a number of them. My gosh, January 19th, we're going to get no sleep. It's going to be a pardon-a-thon. Just blanket pardon-a-thon at Joe Biden's, in the Oval Office with Joe Biden on his last day.
Well, the thing is, you've taken, you really have, because they were, pounding on the whole Kash Patel thing. Well, that goes away now.
That's gone.
It goes away because you're arguing. Now, nobody believes it. Nobody believes what Biden is selling.
Right.
But the fact
Aside
is,
from Chuck Grassley.
except for Chuck. I was wrong there. Almost nobody believes. No, nobody believes the point.
Mm-hmm.
The point I was trying to make. Nobody believes that Biden believes that the Justice Department was going after his son.
Right.
He knows his son was guilty. His
Right.
son pleaded guilty.
Right.
So
there was something called
right.
evidence.
Right. So he knows that isn't true. But he gave the ammunition politically now for the Trump administration and all Republicans to use that against Democrats. Democrats are going to have to ask the question. Or answer the question, not ask the question. Answer the question. Well, do you believe then? Do you believe that the Justice Department is corrupt and went after Hunter Biden in an unfair manner? Yes, I do. Then why did Hunter plead guilty?
Right.
The tax evasion.
Right.
They can't sell that to the American public.
No.
But the fact is, Biden has now allowed that to be used as ammunition to put Democrats in the corner. How can you complain about Kash Patel? Well, these people are going to come in. Bondi's going to come in, and they want to remake these great institutions. Well, Biden says they're corrupt. Trump says they're corrupt. He was the last president. Biden's the current president. He says the Department of Justice is corrupt. They went after his son, where he had to pardon them. He had to pardon him for 10 years.
Yep.
A blanket pardon. That's how scared he is of the Department of Justice.
Yep. Yep.
Of the Attorney General that he picked.
Yeah.
Argue that. Now, we all know it's not true, but politically, you put Democrats into the corner.
Look, you create all of that yourself by the way that you've handled everything, including Joe Biden's statement on the pardon.
Yeah, I know.
Gosh, man. You're just handing it to the incoming administration. Here you go. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, he has done more to help Trump and hurt Democrats.
Yeah.
We knew this. We knew the pardon was coming. I didn't know how.
Yeah,
I figured
we fully expected it.
I figured he would just put out the statement, "I'm pardoning him for 10 years," and not give an explanation, because nobody buys the explanation.
Right.
But
so why would it matter? That's
right.
kind of what I thought.
Right.
I thought it was just going to be a more, straight, direct approach. And if anybody asks, it would be, well, because,
Well, but he's got a gaslight. It's like, nah, I got a gaslight. Got to shove it in their face.
Yep.
I've got to help Look, I need to pardon Hunter, but I need to help the incoming Trump administration to go after the Department of Justice
while throwing Merrick Garland under the bus. Right. It is wow. The most prolific words ever uttered by a president. Never underestimate the ability of Joe Biden to F things up. Barack Obama. It's like, and we still have well over a month to go.
I know. But seriously, how can you, as a Democrat, how can you sit there and say, well, they want to remake the Department of Justice? Well, Biden said that they're corrupt.
Yeah.
They went after his son unfairly just because he was president.
Right. It was politically driven.
Right. Same argument Trump has.
Yep.
Argue it.
Right.
Because
it's the rot.
So either Biden is lying or it's time to redo it. What do you think here?
We know the truth. Like you said, look, there's evidence when it comes to Hunter's.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that Hunter did.
Well, the best evidence.
There's a ton of evidence.
You know what the best evidence is? Pleading guilty.
Yeah, exactly.
Just what a day.
You know the biggest witness? Hunter Biden.
Exactly the biggest.
There you go.
Well, actually, as we said, because so much came from the laptop, the biggest witness against Hunter Biden was Hunter Biden.
Right.
Oh, my gosh. 866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
Good morning. Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley. I'm Gary McNamara. I'm sorry. It's just so insane. Elon Musk just posted this 7 minutes ago. The man never sleeps.
Yeah.
Community Notes slays. We talked about the community notes on X.
Yeah.
It says Joe Biden.
It's from Joe Biden's account.
It's from Joe Biden's account. It says no one is above the law. Community Notes. By pardoning his son Hunter, not merely for a single crime, but for all actual or potential crimes he may or may not have created over an 11-year period, Joe Biden has made it clear that some people are, in fact, above the law.
Which is true.
I know.
It's obvious.
Because, and that's the one thing. It's not looking at what he was, what he pleaded guilty to or convicted of.
No.
It's a blanket pardon for anything from a time span. It's not directed at, okay, you were found guilty of this.
Right.
So he's gone way beyond that.
Oh, yeah.
Way beyond pardoning. If Trump comes out and says, okay, the people involved in January 6th are all pardoned, it's that for that specific event.
Right.
Biden's saying, for everything, anything that might have happened. Right. Anything he's not even been charged with yet.
Exactly.
He gets a full pardon. Everything's gone.
Right.
Well, but then again, we all knew that was BS to begin with.
Well, and you can't use the drug abuse excuse either, because it implies he's still smoking crack.
Well, you can't use it anyway because it didn't. As the
we don't
whistleblower
buy
said
it. We don't buy it, but they're trying to sell it.
Right.
There were comments. Oh, well, he was aware of his drug abuse and blah, blah, blah. Loving father, blah, 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 blah. Shut up.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across the USA and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thank you so much for being here this morning. You know, the topic of tariffs did come up again over the weekend. And so I was going through X, and I saw that somebody had posted probably, an economist that probably is the most well-known for talking about tariffs in the history of the United States. Here it is.
In 1930, the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, in an effort to alleviate the effects of the, anyone? The Great Depression, passed the, anyone? A tariff bill, the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act, which, anyone raised or lowered? Raised tariffs in an effort to collect more revenue for the federal government. Did it work? Anyone? Anyone know the effects? It did not work, and the United States sank deeper into the Great Depression.
Anyone?
I saw that. It was under, remember when Ferris Bueller's Day Off tried to teach us about tariffs and no one was paying attention?
Nobody was paying attention. Even we weren't paying attention? Yeah. I love it.
I just said, okay.
Anyone?
And I'm like, I got to say that. I got to play that. Normally we don't play clips, but I'm like, I got to play that clip.
Anyone?
The only thing I can say about that is, and we'll see where it goes, the whole concept of where Trump was going on tariffs has changed. Before, just a month ago, it was no tariffs on everybody, no matter what.
Right.
And now everything's conditional.
Right.
Which the markets are going to like because that, again, you had the discussion between the president of Mexico and Trump, which you said went well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the prime minister of Canada go down to Mar-a-Lago and said it went well. So it's, you and I had said that if it's simply because Trump was selling it as tariffs across the board, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't whether you're involved in unfair trade practices. It was, I'm going to put tariffs on everything that comes into the country, no matter what, to rebuild the American economy.
Right.
That seems to be off the table now.
Right. Because if it's conditional to the point of, all right, Mexico agreed to do this, so we won't do this with Mexico. We won't do this with Canada. Look, there may be some, we've talked about it. There may be some play on China. We don't know where that goes. We're not sure. But if you look at massive tariffs across the board, the idea was the goal is, from their perspective, to protect the American economy, protect the American worker and producer, and all of that. That's the entire deal. And there is nothing that the other nations really can do that is going to change that part of it. But if it's negotiated and it's, okay, we won't do that because they agreed to do this.
Well, it's
not about producers here.
It's not about trade even.
Right. No, you're right.
It's not even about trade anymore.
Right.
And I found that fascinating over the last week, how that evolved, and nobody's really talking about how that evolved. Nobody's really talking about that, like they're not talking about Matt Gaetz anymore.
Well, exactly.
Really? Okay. What was that? Oh, yeah. Remember the tariffs were supposed to be unconditional, had nothing to do whether you were involved in unfair trade practices.
Right.
It was going to be 10% across the board in order to boost, America.
Right.
And now that seems to have been jettisoned.
Mm-hmm.
It's because as soon as it becomes conditional and has nothing to do with trade and nothing to do, because the topics he's talking about are completely unrelated to trade.
Yep.
So, interesting development. The markets will like that.
Yeah. Look, I think the markets have kind of been, doing the wait and see approach on tariffs. When it was announced, or when he put it on Truth Social, we talked about it. All right. What's priced in yet? probably nothing because the market really doesn't know where it's going to go. And they also have a history, or there is a history with Trump on tariffs and moves on tariffs. Well, the whole thing about NAFTA. We're going to totally revamp NAFTA, and very little of it really changed.
Right,
it wasn't a massive revamping of NAFTA as much as it was. The biggest thing was changing the name.
No, it was.
You know?
Well, I mean, but then when he came out and said, Mexico's just killing us, we're just going to put the tariffs on, I go, excuse me, you're the one that negotiated and said NAFTA's gone and this. Are you admitting now that USMCA is a failure?
Right.
And then they didn't bring it up again.
Right.
Remember, he went off on that. Then
Right.
I didn't go, I'm like, okay, guys, get your story straight. This is during the campaign. We said, let's get our story straight here.
And over the Thanksgiving break, when he made the statement that the president of Mexico has promised to stop people from coming across our border, into the U.S., I was like, okay, we know where that went then. By the way, because we saw this in his first term, and there was a lot of, people going, well, that's just his negotiation tactic. Well, yeah, but that's not how they're promoting it on tariffs. When you say, tariffs across the board, the idea is to protect. It's protectionism. It's to protect the American economy, the American producer. That's what you're looking to do. Yeah, but it's just a negotiating tactic. Well, he's capable of negotiating without that. He can, in fact, during the negotiations say, look, we'll do everything, including all the way up to massive tariffs, if we don't get our way.
Yeah, but
if you're going to use that as leverage in that way, then state it that way, because you're not selling it to people that way.
Well, but the thing is, he was back in 2016 promoting it as a negotiating tool to get better trade deals. When he talked about it the last couple of months of the campaign, right, to get a better deal with USMCA or whatever, to get a better deal with, because they're screwing us. The new tariffs were not "you're screwing us,"
exactly.
except for China. It was simply, we need to protect the American worker, so I'm going to put a 10% across the board on everything that comes into the country. And then he talked about whether he's still going to. Well, there's a 10% I'm still going to throw on. The 25% is just for the fentanyl, or the fentanyl and illegal immigration. Well, then we'll see. But it seems that has been dropped.
Right. In recent days, it has been. So we'll see where it goes.
So we'll see where that goes. But again, I think they're probably finding out that's not top of mind for most people.
On tariffs in general?
Yeah,
or?
Tariffs are just not. It's not. It's something. It's something that they've been into and he's been into, and for example, Navarro was into. But it's not something that they've discussed. But it's not something that's top of mind for the American public, even though, as we mentioned, the majority of Republicans, like 83%, are in favor of tariffs.
Yeah,
just in general,
right?
Just in general, and I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah,
like I said, the focus on tariffs has definitely changed from the administration over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
excuse me, the incoming administration.
And I think too, the market again hasn't priced anything in because you really don't know where it's going. I believe he was serious across the board. We'd see that in the markets. And right now we're looking at record territory. And that started on election night when it was clear he was going to win. So you kind of get it both ways, right? You get the political win both ways, and keep in mind, he's done running for president. He's done campaigning in that way. He may campaign for somebody in, at the midterm. He may campaign for a few people. In 28, he may get out there and campaign for J.D. Vance if that's the way it's going to go. But he's not campaigning for him. And that's what's different here. But also, it is typical for him to come in and go, well, no, after I sat down with both Trudeau and the president of Mexico, we came to a conclusion that they're going to do what we want them to do. And then he gets the political win there. And I think we need to stop all those Canadians coming across the border for medical care, for better medical care. No, I mean, we've seen that before. And my point is, politically, he can get away with that, and it's just the nature of what he's doing. Nobody will mind that at all. Nobody will mind that. I think he needs to hold China's feet to the fire. But in order to truly hold their feet to the fire, he's got to get everybody else in agreement and on board with him. But you can't do that while you're throwing out tariffs against everybody else, in the game. You got to get them in line with what you want. And I'm hopeful this will happen. I don't know if it will. But then you get all of the world trade partners and you stand at China's door and say, we're choking you out unless you get this whole thing on intellectual property straightened out now. Now, having said that, I have said before, I said it during his first term, if Trump can't get that done against China, I don't think anybody can. I don't think in the current political environment, if we don't do it now, we'll never do it. But having said that, the game is so far gone on intellectual property rights. Now with AI in full play now, I don't expect there to be an effect, even if China decided policy-wise they were going to try and get in line, because I wouldn't expect them to follow through.
Well, again, and, whether it's Wall Street Journal or other publications talking about the problems that China's having with their economy. Mm-hmm. Remember, as everybody moves from first world countries into second world and then first world, from third to second to first, whatever.
Right.
There's more competition for China. And the problem that China is still having is every problem that a communist nation is going to have. As soon as, for example, think of the United States. All right. Let's the United States figure out what people want to buy. Mm-hmm. How about electric vehicles? Let's subsidize these. How's that working out for you?
Right.
When government gets involved in industry, it always screws it up.
Yep. It always makes it worse.
And just because their name is China does not mean that they don't make massive mistakes attempting to blend or meld the meld capitalism into communism.
Right.
You're going to have problems when you do that.
Right.
And if you subsidize it, they subsidize. Doesn't matter. They subsidize it.
Right.
Same thing. It's still not going to cut it.
Right.
In economics.
Right.
It's not going to.
Right.
And that's the problem that they're facing. And so it'd be interesting to see what goes on in the world over the next couple of decades.
No, it will be fascinating to pay attention to it all. Yep. And what things are affected by a Trump presidency. I don't know of anything. In fact, I think everything's on the list. It will all be affected.
It's a great mystery because how, can I use the word adventurous?
Yeah.
Because there are adventures coming that, you try to change the major problems that this country faces, there's going to be pushback like you can't believe. You're already starting to see it.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah.
And what's the left actually going to give up on? And I saw Tim Ryan out there promoting again, but you've got other Democrats saying, no, we just need to repeat it louder.
Right.
Repeat the same insanity louder. Men can be women if men say they are.
I'll say this, I'm more optimistic now than I have been in the past. That's because it's not just Trump, it's everybody else that's on board and the election results where he made so much progress in all the states. But everything that's changed, the Elon Musks of the world and how, they admit, look, a few years ago we were diehard liberals. Joe Rogan and all these people that have influence. And we knew before the election, we couldn't measure it, but there had to be a great effect on the rank and file voter out there to some extent. And we saw that on November 5th.
Now, they're not full conservative yet, but they're heading in the right direction.
We're making progress.
Yes. 86690 Red Eye.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at JJ Keller, and I'm here to share a tip on roadside inspections. Drivers must always be prepared for a roadside inspection. This means drivers should always have their personal, vehicle, and company credentials organized and ready and having any shipment paperwork such as bills of lading or hazardous material shipment emergency response information organized and ready for the inspection official. Just an FYI, the top 2 violations written against drivers every year, as well as during Operation Road Check, are log general form and manner and log not current. Both are completely avoidable if the driver keeps the log accurate, compliant, and current at all times. Having the vehicle ready for inspection involves the driver conducting daily inspections and making sure any problems that are discovered are immediately corrected. Vehicle readiness also requires the company to make sure that the vehicle is current on all scheduled maintenance and that the maintenance schedule is adequate. This will make sure the driver is being given a sound vehicle to start with. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller & Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks for being here. Really interesting. I'm going to play this here from the Canadian Parliament last week. And this is after Trump's tariff threat over fentanyl and illegal immigration towards Canada and Mexico. Pierre Poilievre, who is the conservative opposition to Trudeau and the Liberals in Canada, and probably will be the next prime minister. In fact, I think it was Kevin O'Leary said the other day on Fox News, Trump needs to invite him. He's going to be the next. He's going to be the next guy.
Yeah, right.
Forget about Trudeau, but Trudeau went up. But listen to this back and forth. This is interesting. Here we go.
We need a plan for economy and security that puts Canada first. But despite the fact the Prime Minister has known for years that Trump was threatening these tariffs, and for 3 weeks that President Trump had won the election, the only plan he has is a Zoom call. No plan to reverse his disastrous liberalization of drugs that have killed people and now threaten our borders. No plan to fix the broken borders that he caused. No plan to cancel the tax increases that will drive billions and many jobs away. Where's the plan to put Canada first?
Speaker, instead of panicking and falling back on slogans like the Leader of the Opposition, we rolled up our sleeves and we're getting to work. We're working with all the premiers, pulling together in a Team Canada approach, because that's how we defend Canadian jobs from coast to coast to coast. I spoke with Donald Trump yesterday evening, talked about how important it was for us to work together to solve some of the challenges we're facing as a continent, as countries, but also work to grow our economy, protect our workers on both sides of the border. This is the responsible, methodical approach we're taking as we move forward, while our opponent falls back on slogans and fear.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. He spoke with the incoming president, and moments later, Mr. Trump put out a tweet slapping a 25% tariff on Canada. So that worked about as well as the Prime Minister's efforts on Buy America and softwood lumber, which continue to be penalized, even though the previous Conservative government got both of those things lifted. Now move over to drugs. The Prime Minister's disastrous legalization and liberalization of drugs has the Americans worried, in addition to costing 47,000 deaths in Canada. Where's the plan to stop the drugs and keep our border open to trade?
There you go, just part of it. And I went... Poilievre, I swear, Poilievre, excuse me, I always mispronounce it. Everybody mispronounces his name, by the way, even in Canada. It's really interesting.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But I think Trump could get along with him.
I think so, yep.
Have a line open. 1-866-90-RED-EYE. Red Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Download our Red Eye Radio app today and listen when and where you choose. You know, it's interesting listening to the Canadian Parliament, though, because you forget. I mean, because, you know, people look at a particular country and they think, okay, whatever government's in charge is the government, the only government that's there. And as we know, that's not the case even in Canada. So to hear Pierre Poilievre, the opposition leader, who probably be the next prime minister, go after Trudeau and make some great points, saying, wait a minute, you've left this border open. You're letting, because of what you've done and your liberalization and legalization of drugs, you're responsible for drugs coming in there, so they have a point. But I think one of the things that was probably brought up by both the president of Mexico, but especially Trudeau, or if they're talking to Poilievre, if the Trump transition team is, or Trump is, they've got a great point back. Look, you're threatening these tariffs on us, but you've had an open border for the last 4 years.
Right.
If you didn't have an open border, if they couldn't get in, people wouldn't be coming into our country to sneak across the border to get into yours.
Right.
You're saying we need to close our border from people getting out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your border's been open. It's not you. But you've got to realize the situation that we're in. I'm sure Trump would look at that and go, it's a good point.
Well, and I think that has to be part of the negotiation. I was thinking about that after the meeting with the president of Mexico. All right, they've had a problem at their southern border. Remember, we actually gave them money to help them build a wall on their southern border. That happened. And yes, it's true. But when you see what we saw, this huge, massive surge during the Biden administrative years, it no doubt created a lot of complications for Mexico. And while you may not hear that, because every president of Mexico wants the same thing. They want their people to come here and earn money and send 75% of it back home, which is what is about typical. That if they're not going to come here and apply for citizenship or, a long-term permanent status, it's all about sending money back to their economy.
But they can make the case that isn't happening anymore, that the majority of people coming across from Mexico are not from Mexico.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. You can, in the past, every president of Mexico, hey, you guys are racist for not wanting our people to come to your country. Now, and you had this during the first term that Trump served, they knew their problem with their southern border. You have people coming from all over the world coming through their southern border, and also they get the blame on everything. Look, they get the blame on the cartels. They have to own that. They can't get on top of the cartels, and that's a full-on battle that the U.S. is, reportedly under Trump going to take on. We'll see how far that goes and what they mean when it comes to battling the cartel and, going to war with the cartel, because there should be an effort. I don't know what you do. I can't even start to begin to have that conversation. But if you're saying, if you say, look, we're going to enforce our border, it's going to slow things down for you guys as well, but you're going to have to help us on your northern border being our southern border. And if you don't do that, you're always going to have a problem. Long before you get to tariff territory, it's about national security. And again, they already have their hands full with the cartels who run that country. So I wonder how much of that conversation centered around the cartels and what the U.S. might do to help the Mexican government battle their problem with the cartels. Because when you think of fentanyl, it's Mexico and China, full stop. And in order to really curb that flow, because a lot of what comes from China comes through the southern border, then you're going to have to go to battle with the cartels, and I don't know how you do that. I don't know. I honestly don't know what you do But if the pledge is there, if the promise is there by the incoming administration to Mexico, we'll help you all we can on everything else, and we're going to enforce our border. We expect you to do the same.
Right.
Then you've got, again, that's why I don't think the threat of tariffs is necessary. But, I mean, I'm not in his shoes. So, it's not my approach, but we'll see what happens.
Well, like I said last week, I said, well, but Canada has a great argument. And Mexico now, because so many people are coming from Central America and from all over the world, through Mexico. And remember, Biden is flying people directly from Mexico into the United States.
Right.
And so they've got to say, look, yeah, granted, we haven't done our job. And, yeah, we were making money when the majority were Mexican coming over, that we could take money and you could get hard currency back there and it helped our economy. But that's not the case anymore. The vast majority are coming through our country.
Yep.
But you've got an open border. Your open border, you're allowing it to happen. In fact, right now, we're not blaming you, but the United States, if you're looking at it, you're saying we're to blame. You guys are to blame.
Right.
And they have a point. Both Canada and both Canada and Mexico have a point. If we're going to have open borders, people are going to attempt to come in. And where are they going to attempt to come in? Either land or sea.
Yep.
The only land is Canada and Mexico.
Yep.
And so everybody needs to do their job. So Trump can simply say, well, believe it, we're going to do our job.
Yep.
We want your cooperation, and that's how you build it.
Well, again, I think, and there's, even beyond what's going on with immigration, look, then you have to think about terrorism.
Yeah.
I mean, that all of this has to be included. And they do know, look, anybody who's been paying attention knows that Trump is strong against the enemy. They know that. If you're Mexico, if you're Canada, I know Trudeau doesn't want to hear this, you have a very strong ally under President Donald Trump, in that he is somebody who takes national security very seriously, which is vastly different, quite tragically, from where we are right now and have been under the last 4 years. And that has to pique your interest over everything, because, I mean, look, it all goes back to national security when we talk about a broken border and illegal immigration and everything else. But the idea of terrorists setting up shop and being able to set up pretty much anywhere in the world, and if they think Mexico is this revolving door, this pass-through, and they're taking advantage of that. We already know that. There's evidence of that. And eventually, if not already, Canada is also a target. All of these things are all related simply by geography. I mean, simply by where everybody is geographically.
And the thing that a lot of Americans don't know is Canada right now is fed up with the liberalization of their legal immigration.
Yep, exactly.
They're cutting back.
They're cutting back.
To see Trudeau.
Great point. Yep.
To see Trudeau up there saying, okay, we went too far. Now, he's trying to blame, I don't know how he's trying to blame and he's been pounded. The conservatives are just pounding on him for it, saying he did this, then it blew up in their face. Now they're backing off and trying to blame companies.
Yeah.
Companies are taking advantage of these workers coming in.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You allowed it.
Yeah.
And so it's changing even in Canada. The insanity. You saw that one small town in Canada, right, that got fined because they didn't have a gay pride parade or flag wasn't flying.
Yeah.
They actually got fined by the government.
Yeah.
That's the insanity. That's we've gone far. Canada's gone. Well, let's put it this way. We have a much more, I think, huge population in conservative areas that Canada probably doesn't have.
Right.
You've got so much of the major metro areas in Canada that are liberal, and the rural areas, don't have the population. You've got places like Texas and Florida and other places that have huge populations, that are conservative. But the insanity in Canada, the fact of I couldn't work there in the media.
Right. Yeah.
I couldn't. And I we'd end up probably in jail.
Right.
Because there are things you cannot say on the radio. Not just bad words. Ideas that you cannot bring up.
Right.
It's insane. It's completely insane. Canada, you've gone, and that's where my father's side came from, but you've gone bat soup crazy. Think about it. Canada, you're crazier than Biden and Harris.
Yeah.
Now that's crazy. Because we know crazy.
Yeah, we got Joe Biden, but
Americans
you guys
crazy.
are Canada. But no, I was thinking during the break, the last break, I was thinking, all right, that optimism I talked about, because it seems like there is actually a new tone. I don't know if it's long-lived. I can't tell you. In fact, only time will tell that. But you can see the pushback even in Canada. You can see that pushback. Look, we know all of our friends in Alberta. We know you're always fighting the good fight. We understand that. But it is it really is, I think, people coming to the realization, no. These people are lying to us on the left. They're insane on the ideas, and they're coming after us, punishing us for our beliefs. Those are things that don't sit well with anybody. They don't sit well with anybody. And I think that's what you see right now. And this new awakening, again, we'll see how far it goes, how long it's lived.
I think part of it in Canada started with the COVID. And the truck. Remember the trucker strike?
Yeah.
That was just unbelievable.
Well, no, I mean, that's a great example, great point. In that, look, these are people out here trying to make a living. I think, in fact, we can couple all that with the economy, because you've destroyed our purchasing power through inflation here in the U.S. That effect has had, of course, it's had a great effect with our trade partners, including Canada. And people are having to work harder in order to make ends meet. And then you come at us and you want to punish us for working harder. No. You're doing everything to disable us instead of empowering the citizens of your country.
And you're seeing millions now of Canadians going, why's Trudeau worked against our own best interests?
Right.
Hey, like we say about Biden and Harris down here.
Right.
And the Democratic Party. Yeah, why are you working against our best interest?
Right.
And to sit there and see the opposition leader of Canada say, Canada first. Right. I mean, I burst out laughing. I went, as soon as when I heard him and he said it before, but when I heard him say it last week, I just went, Trump would like him. Trump can negotiate with him, the opposition leader.
Right.
So,
well, you think about all the things over the years that we've talked about, going after like kids with lemonade stands, things like that. Mm-hmm. We know that wasn't Merrick Garland, as far as we know. But I mean, that kind of approach to just going after the little guy every time. People are done with that. And COVID was that heavy weight on everybody. You're going to control our lives. You're going to shut us out. Then you're going to spend to no end and drive up inflation. And now we can't get back on our feet, all because of decisions you made. And we're done.
866-90 Red Eye.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Okay, Keith Olbermann posted from his basement.
No, okay.
Pardon Hunter? Great. Now pardon everyone else. Every prosecutor, every Biden administration staffer, every media figure, everybody Trump will persecute. not prosecute, persecute. 10 million pardons at least. Now, I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration. I think there are more criminal Democrats than 10 million.
It's got to be at least 30 million.
Right. Is that what he's saying? There's 10 million crooked Democrats?
I trust Keith Olbermann.
Oh, yeah. If Keith Olbermann says it, you can take that to the bank.
Look, that's what he believes.
Yeah, it's what he believes. I'm reading it verbatim.
Yeah.
10 million pardons at least.
Wow.
Is that enough?
Way to have confidence in your own side there, Keith. Thanks for the admission.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.